This Hangout on Air is live. Hello, everybody. This is Sound Booth Theater Live. This is a special edition. And we are featuring Mr. Dave Willmarth yet again. This is what, your third exclusive SB?
I think so. Yes.
Yes.
Third.
Okay. So, yeah. And I think from the responses we get on the YouTube videos, Dave is one of our favorites here. So, yeah, we are starting on, well, I've already started recording Greystone 2. Yes, I know that you guys are disappointed that Laurie will not be narrating this time, but hopefully I will do a good enough job for you guys to enjoy the audiobook all the same.
Yeah, I got the scrub stepping in here.
Who's stepping in?
The scrub.
Yeah. Yeah, got the what do they call it? What do they call the guy?
Second string.
Second strain, yeah. Sorry. But yeah, who do we got here already? JS Howdy? No, that's not part of his name. That's him. Howdy. JS Nicopotamus, New Hades. What's up? Ray Johnson. Fuck yeah. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Ray.
Ramon, Andy McGee. Hell yeah.
Angel's here.
We have quite a crowd. And Laurie has shown.
And the lovely and talented Laurie.
Hello.
You are very quiet right now, Laurie.
I'm gonna fix it.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today. I know it's probably not the easiest for you, but thank you.
You're welcome. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Yes. Can you hear the doink doink doink?
No doinking.
There's no doinking?
Oh, I hear.
Oh yeah, there's the doink.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'll turn my feet up.
Hey, Sin's on too. Benjamin.
Hey.
Charlotte.
We got everybody showed up.
Everybody.
We got 12 viewers right now. Okay. We are gonna read 3 scenes from Greystone 2 that we think are really fun. It'll show off quite a few characters. How do we have a lot of new female characters? We have Jules.
We have Jules. There's a few new female NPCs, but Jules is the main new female.
Okay.
And she's a core character going forward for the rest of the book. So,
does she show up in chapter 3? No. Well, that's going to be Jeeves, and that's in the real world, right?
Jeeves. Well, no, Jeeves is in the game. He's the keep AI.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's the keep AI. Yeah, so she would be in that scene.
Jules comes in location 1242, which I didn't look up on the regular. She's pretty early. She's in the keep before the Jeeves scene. So okay. You've already read on Discord. I'm sure you probably already read it.
Yep. We've gotten to her. This is really Laurie's realm because this is a female character, but I was just doing her voice with a British accent. Even though I've been doing that with a lot of the NPCs. But she's actually a player character.
She is.
And so, Dave, how do you want her handled?
Well, she lives in the U.S., so probably not a British accent. She's just a girl player from the same city that Alexander and the others live in. She's in a coma in real life for the next few books. So she's playing an elf. She's playing supermodel elf. Very innocent and not real worldly.
Okay.
She's also been traumatized, so
right.
But at the same time, she's bubbly and seems to get over it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Cool.
So we got that for her description. That's going to be our second read. That'll be in chapter 3. Laurie, what were we saying?
Okay. What's our first read going to be then?
Our first read is going to be in chapter 2. Let's see.
It's like the third page of chapter 2.
Cool.
So what? 33.
Yeah, location is 694. It's the third page of chapter 2.
Tiny text. You guys are gonna bear with me. I'm gonna old lady it right here like this. What part did you want to start on?
Yeah, can you give us a keyword or a key sentence?
Yeah, give me just 1 second here. Third page of chapter 2. Let me go back. I'm on a different spot here.
It's fun to revisit these characters. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then Sasha talked like this, and Lainey talked like this, and I was like, no, I got it backwards.
Okay, right after the big bold level up, you are now level 31. There's a paragraph starts deciding to take a break.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so before we get started, Dave, do you want to give us like a little bit of a rundown of the Greystone series in general and where we're basically picking up at the beginning of Greystone 2?
Sure. So Alexander and friends are the original core four of the Greystone Guild who have been adventuring. Alexander's the son of the folks who founded the game IO Online, which is the biggest online game in the world at the moment with millions and millions of members. They've been playing for a while and they decided to reset their characters because there's a new immersion system using pods that Alexander's father invented to help him recover from a neuromuscular disease. So they're all testing these pods as beta testers in long-term immersions, and they started their characters over in book 1 and have been leveling up. They've run across some PK players in a guild called PWP that sort of started a war with them, and they've been fighting them steadily throughout the book. They're also doing dungeons and quests, etc. When we pick it up in book 2, they are expanding their guild complex in Stormforge. They had a dragon named Prince Kai who's come to light the forge for them, and he decided to join them on their adventure to go capture Dire Keep, or clear the dungeon at Dire Keep, which is the scene that we're about to read is them going through the forest on their way to do just that.
Cool. All right, that's a good setup, and here we go. Deciding to take a break before continuing, they found an area with a fallen tree near some large stones that would provide them some cover. Sitting for a few minutes, they reached into their packs for biscuits or fruit, whatever they'd each brought for travel rations. Kai took a seat next to Alexander. I noticed you were a bit limited in your damage when fighting those beasts, he said. Normally, I'd burn them with wizard's fire, Alexander responded, but Lainey won't get much use from scorched hides. Have you no other offensive magic? The dragon asked. I have earth magic, which I use to trap or block enemies. I've used that twice to cause explosions that did damage. Once it killed a room full of imps. And I have a magic shield, which I'm afraid is not very effective yet. Kai looked thoughtful for a moment. How do you feel about other schools of magic? Specifically, light magic? Alexander began to get excited. I wish to learn as much as I can about magic. All magic. Kai placed a hand on Alexander's head. As we are headed to the former abode of a necromancer, I think this might be appropriate. Alexander felt pain similar to that first time when Fitz burned a group of spells into his brain, though this time the pain grew stronger. Once again, he closed his eyes and embraced the pain, accepting it and letting it flow past him. When Kai removed his hand, the pain subsided. His UI told him he'd learned the spell, Ray of Light. Why did it hurt so much this time? Not able to discover an answer on his own, he decided to ask the dragon. Thank you, Kai. If you don't mind me asking, learning that spell was a bit more painful than others I've learned recently. Would you know why? The dragon shook his head. My apologies. I should have warned you. I assumed that working with Fitz, he'd have taught you this. The spell I just gave you is from a different school than the others you've learned so far. Future spells within the light magic school will come to you more gently. Lainey plopped down next to Kai.
I don't know about magic schools. I have a shock spell that I can either fire as a lightning bolt or imbue into an arrow. And I have a minor healing spell that seems like a white light when I use it. Are those both light magic?
Again, Kai shook his head. In your case, those are both holy spells, gifted to you by Odin. Valkyries are the favored daughters of Odin, and are imbued with certain abilities at birth. Others you will grow into as you become stronger. I can teach you some light magic if you'd like. Be warned, though, as you saw from Alexander, it can be uncomfortable. Lainey snorted.
If Pansy Boy there can handle it, so can I. Please, I'd like to learn.
Alexander gave her a look that was half indignant, half concerned. He didn't think she fully comprehended the level of pain that was imminent. Kai placed his hand upon Lainey's head and closed his eyes. Her face scrunched together as she gritted her teeth against the pain. Both fists were clenched so tightly her nails were beginning to draw blood. After what seemed like forever to Lainey, but was really only 10 seconds, Kai removed his hand.
Holy shitballs!
Lainey gasped, collapsing off the log onto the ground.
That freaking hurt! I think I just peed myself a little.
Kai chuckled. Kai chuckled. Kai chuckled.
You want to add a sound effect, like a trickling water sound effect there?
That's a good idea. Hold on.
It sounded like a turkey, what I just did. I was just going to groan in pain for another, 5 minutes over your narration. Ow! Ow! Ow!
Kind of have you ever seen the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie? Like the one that came before the TV show?
It's a bit of a blur, but yeah.
There's a part where there's a vampire played by Pee Wee Herman. What's his name?
I don't remember this at all.
God, I barely remember Pee Wee Herman.
I can't remember his name, but he was he played this vampire, and Buffy finally stabs him, gets him in the heart, and he has a 5-minute death scene, and she keeps trying to leave. After he finally dies, and every time she tries to leave, he starts going again, and it's just so good. There's a point where he sits up, he kicks a table for a second while he's kneeling down, and then he finally dies.
You cut out for a while there. Was that the case for anybody else?
Oh,
you
I cut out.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
I don't know. Then you came back completely.
Paul Rubens. Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Rubens. Someone told us who it is. Right?
Yeah. Yep. It doesn't sound familiar, but I was drunk that decade, so.
Okay. Kai chuckled as he extended a hand to help her up. As with everything worthwhile in life, knowledge has its price. He smiled at her with his dragon teeth. She looked to Alexander, who was grinning unashamedly at her reaction to the pain.
You felt this too, just now?
Whoa, hold on. You're sounding like the most terrifying robot ever. Can you check your connection?
You felt this too, just now? Yeah. Maybe it's my Wi-Fi. Because you've been cutting in and out.
Really?
Yeah, it's your voice you're getting a lot of static along with your voice.
I'm gonna hang up and come back. Okay.
After these messages.
Right.
Oh, I forgot to. Okay, Dave? What do you think about maybe? How busy is your cover designer right now?
I had to beg and plead to get him to get Dark Elf 2 done by. Oh, wait a minute! If you're talking for Greystone 2, she's already working on the cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah, she should have it for me in a couple days.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
Test. Do I sound like a robot?
Yes.
Yeah, you're still getting the
You're
Metallica.
cutting way in and out. You guys are all over the place. Maybe I need to try to move or something. But then we wouldn't have a microphone.
Video's coming through okay and in the right time. It sounds like there's some interference with your mic or something.
Yeah, switch to your laptop mic and see.
Okay. Now we're on my laptop mic.
Yeah, you're better there. I don't hear the static.
Yeah, it sounds better. I think maybe I'm thinking maybe there's a cable connection issue with your mic or something. Or your interface.
Well, my cable did look a little askew, so it might have just been my cable. I'm gonna try connecting it again, see what happens.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
We're in no rush.
What about now?
Nope.
Yeah.
No?
Still static.
No? Dang it. What's going on? I have another cable. I could try that.
Okay.
My backup cable. Let's see what happens.
We're not actually recording this, right? So it doesn't.
Yeah. This is not going into the final audiobook.
all of our conversation is going into the audiobook.
Other than scratching at Jeff's ears in those headphones, it's probably not the worst thing. Oh, for those of you who care, Michigan's up 42-14 now. Go Blue.
You hear me?
Yep.
It's kind of some weird static on my end, but
Now you sound clear.
I can hear you guys fine at the moment, so should we give it a whirl?
Yeah, let's keep moving. All right. She looked to Alexander, who was grinning unashamedly at her reaction to the pain.
Sorry, now I lost my place. I apologize.
Your line is, "You felt this too just now?"
You felt this too just now? Okay, yeah, I'm almost there. I have to do it as Jeff doing it as me. You felt this too just now.
You know what's really funny is that's exactly what your impression of me sounds like in our, when
I'm Jeff. Okay. You felt this too just now?
Yep.
I take back the Pansy Boy comment.
Laughing, he asked, "So what did you learn? Show us." Lainey took a moment to pull up her UI. Smiling, she withdrew her belt knife and stuck it into Alexander's arm, then yanked it out. "Ow! Shit! What was that for?" he demanded.
I was right the first time, Pansy Boy.
She grinned as she covered the wound with her hand. A white light glowed for a few seconds. When she removed her hand, the wound was healed.
It's called Mend. Says it will heal up 300 HP.
"You know you didn't have to stab me before casting that, right?" he growled at her.
But how would I know if it worked unless there was something to heal?
She asked innocently. Max and Brick were both outright snort laughing, while Sasha just grinned. Even Kai had a slight smile on his face, though he was kind enough to try and suppress it. "Alexander, one important thing you need to know. All of you, actually. Not all light spells will heal. The one you've just learned will only do damage. It will also dispel opposing effects, like curses or damage over time spells created with dark magic. But if you were to cast it at one of your friends right now, it would damage them." Alexander immediately flung a hand up at Lainey, who squeaked and dove behind Kai. Laughing, he put his hand down and pulled up his UI. Ray of Light. Generates a beam of light that will burn a target, doing variable damage dependent upon the amount of mana used in the casting. Range, 50 yards. Minimum mana cost, 30. Stepping away from the log he'd been sitting on, Alexander held out a hand and cast a minimal ray with 30 mana. A beam of light shot from his hand, striking the log and leaving a small, perfectly round, smoking hole in the wood about an inch wide and 2 inches deep. "Huh," he said. "Everybody step back for a sec. That was a minimum cast. Only 30 mana. I'm going to try it with 300. Holding up his hand again, he focused on building up mana while holding the spell in his mind. When the casting bar on his UI had counted up to 300 mana, which took about 5 seconds, he let go of the spell. The beam struck the log and made it shudder. There was now a wider hole in the log, and the beam had passed all the way through the wood and into the ground behind it. "You just shot a frickin' laser!" Brick pumped his fist in the air. The others grinned as Sasha gave a little golf clap. Kai looked puzzled. "How much mana did you put into that?" he asked. 300. It took a while to build up before I released it, Alexander answered. "That is meant to be a channeled spell. There shouldn't be a release, as you put it. The spell is supposed to emit a steady ray, the damage increasing as the duration increases." I had to correct myself on this before. "The damage increasing as the duration increases. You have somehow modified it into a single charged burst. Interesting." Kai rubbed his chin. Sasha spoke up.
Since we've been reborn, we have each figured out how to modify our magic in small ways. It has actually helped us work as a team.
Kai stepped up next to Alexander. "Well, you certainly found an effective modification. Let me show you something. I will use the same amount of mana you just used." He extended a hand, and a steady beam of light stretched from his hand to the log. He kept the spell going for about 5 seconds, then let it end, dropping his hand.
That was cool!
Sasha cheered. The rest of the group nodded their heads. "Yes, well, take a look at the log," Kai instructed them. Upon inspection, the surface of the log had been burned in a line that curved around several times in a roughly circular pattern, almost like someone had tried to burn a spiral into the wood. The marks only went a fraction of an inch deep. "If I were to cast this at one of you," Kai explained, "it would do significant burn damage. But when channeling, it is difficult to hold one's hand perfectly still. So the impact point shifts around as the spell continues. The further away the target, the greater the movement. So the spell may fail, for example, to penetrate armor." Kai motioned to the hole Alexander had created in the log. "You have solved that problem with your, I'm going to call it, burst modification. All of the heat goes instantly to one point, providing considerable penetration. How did you figure out the change?" Alexander looked guilty. I didn't realize from the description of the spell that it was to be channeled. I just envisioned it the way it would be on our world, where we have weapons that fire bursts like this. So that's how it came out. Lainey came up with her stun arrow the same way. She just didn't know any better." Kai looked to Lainey. "Show me." Lainey lifted her bow and drew an arrow. Infusing it with her shock spell, she shot Alexander in the leg, stunning him, and causing Brick to nearly fall off the stone he was sitting on. When the stun wore off, Alexander was furious. "That's twice! What the hell?" Though he kept shouting, the sound of his voice was cut off when he was hit in the same leg with a silence arrow from Max, followed by a heal from Sasha. Brick was now rolling around on the ground, helpless with laughter. Realizing he'd been silenced, Alexander stopped yelling and resorted to hand gestures that made it very clear what he was thinking, which caused everyone, including Kai, to laugh out loud. When the stun wore off, he simply growled, "I hate you all," and sat back down. Kai was the first to speak. "I'm fascinated by the changes you've all made to your various types of magic. I have never seen this before in all my life on Io. Though, now that I see them, I wonder why no one discovered them earlier."
We're just awesome like that.
Sasha declared, taking a small bow.
Wait until you see us fight critters that Lainey doesn't want to skin. Then you'll really be impressed.
On that note, they all did a quick gear check and resumed their march toward Dire Keep.
Yeah, that's a good end spot right there.
All right, cool.
Gosh, that's my fave.
So yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot more sound effects lately in our audiobooks, so that particular scene is gonna, and I think sound effects are most effective in comedic scenes. So that one's definitely gonna have some good.
Especially the peeing.
The peeing, that's
probably the most important sound effect.
Yeah.
And Jeff makes all these sound effects with just like his hands and like other like rocks and things like that, you know, usually in his bathroom sink.
Yeah,
It'd be a task for him.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's something I spend about 4 hours a day just recording myself around the house, smashing my face and
Yeah.
chewing on different substances.
Violin in one of our last books, that was just the inside of his mouth. Just for
I used my tongue as a bow and my bottom lip as the string.
Very, very talented. So impressive.
I'm very good.
That's probably partly true.
Okay, so our next scene is chapter 3.
Chapitre 3.
Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're having fun with this and you haven't listened to the first audiobook yet, go check it out. It's on Audible already. Laurie Catherine Winkel. Laurie Catherine Winkel is the narrator for that one, and it did pretty well when it came out. The link is in the description below, as well as the link to Greystone Book 2, The Direlands, which is the one we're narrating now. That's on Kindle, and you're up to the 4th book in the series, right?
Greystone, I'm writing 5 right now. Yeah, four books are out. I'm writing 5.
Yeah.
Until football started today.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally understand if you got addicted to the series and just bought all of them on Kindle before the audio stuff came out. I mean,
we're not encouraging addiction, but it's better than heroin in terms of like side effects, and I'm just saying try it,
Yeah, I'm putting that on the next book cover. Better than heroin. Quote from Laurie Catherine Winkel.
Yeah, and also if you're having fun, please subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for our future Sound Booth Theater Live. So again, back to chapter 3. And do you have a key phrase for us to look up?
The way is clear.
It sounds like you're making us find our own. The way is clear, guys. You're looking for a key phrase? The way is clear. It's on paper, man.
Find it your damn self.
About how many pages in is that? I'm working on
page 74.
It's chapter 3. It's page 53 on the Word doc. I'm not sure what it is in the PDF, but
that's probably the way is clear.
It's in italics. The way is clear. It is safe to follow.
Okay. I see something about a mirror. Let's see. There you go. I found it.
All right. So that's the first sentence of what we're doing.
They each stepped up. The next sentence.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, all right. I remember this.
Yeah, I'll set it up real quick. They just finished clearing the keep, and they're in the tower, and they can figure out why the dungeon quest hasn't completed. And Alexander figures out that the mirror in the room that they're sitting in might be a portal. So Kai has just stepped through to test it, and he's telling them that it's okay to come through.
Gotcha. They each stepped up and turned to touch the mirror. Brick first, followed by Sasha, then Max, Lainey, and Jules, with Alexander last. As he stepped through, he found himself instantly in a large stone chamber. There were no doors that he could see. Behind him was a mirror, twin to the one in the tower, though this one was mounted to the wall. To his left, there was a single window, just 2 feet wide and 3 feet tall. Looking around the room, he saw 2 more mirrors mounted on the wall. Across the room was a long stone table. Kai had cast a light globe that was floating near the ceiling and providing enough light to see by. "We are inside the mountain again," Kai informed them. "Somewhere near the top of the bridge, I believe." He motioned toward the window. Looking out, Alexander could see the tower far below, and great expanse of moonlit forest. "Somebody has certainly been using this room." Max pointed out a multitude of footprints, drag marks, and what looked like tracks from cartwheels in the dust. All led to the back wall of the room. Casting his magic sight, Alexander could see an archway carved into the stone. The room had been too dark to see it from this distance with normal vision. "Looks like we found your portal, Kai," he said, pointing at the back wall. "Aye, this makes sense. Whoever was capturing all of those animals and other undead was using a portal to bring them this far, then teleporting them into the dungeon." Kai nodded as he spoke.
"I didn't see a mirror anywhere down in the dungeon,"
Sasha mused. "Even a beginner like Alexander here could teleport a small group or some cargo such a short distance," Kai said. Alexander, choosing to overlook the slight insult, added, "Remember, there was no dust disturbed in the tower." Pointing at the mirror they just exited from, he said, That looks like only our tracks below that mirror, and the dust below the others doesn't look to be disturbed. Maybe whoever has been using this place doesn't know about the mirrors, or just had no use for them." "I believe you are correct," Kai said. He turned to look at Brick. "Fitz mentioned that you two helped construct the portal at your home. Do you think you know enough to disable this portal without permanently damaging it?" Brick stroked his beard. "Aye, maybe. Alexander mentioned something about the runes controlling the frequency. What if I was just to smooth away them runes?" Smiling at the dwarf, Kai said, "Very good. That would indeed disable it. We can engrave new runes later if we need to make use of the portal." Brick moved to the back of the room and laid his hands on the stone. While he was doing that, Max and Kai each went to examine the other two mirrors to see if they could determine where they went. Alexander studied the one they'd just passed through, looking for any kind of mark or indicator symbol that suggested tower. After a few moments, Sasha's voice drifted across the room.
Guys?"
Instantly, all eyes located the druidess, expecting to find her in danger. She was simply standing by the long stone table, one hand reaching down toward its surface.
"You should look at this,"
she said, some excitement in her voice. When Alexander reached her side, he looked down upon what seemed to be a plain stone table. Just then, Sasha leaned over and blew the dust off the surface, exposing 4 keyhole-shaped holes in the tabletop. "Yes!" Brick pumped a fist in the air as he reached into his bag with his other hand to retrieve his keys. The others did the same. "On the count of 3, Brick called out. 1, 2, 3. Each of them pushed their key into a hole and turned it to the right. The table began to hum, and the surface started to glow with a blue light. "Quest completed. Clear the keep. Report to King Charles of Stormforge to claim your rewards."
Yay.
That's it? Oh.
No. Sorry.
That's fine. Max did a little dance. "I've seen this before. Mostly in Capture the Flag PvP games where you try to take and hold citadels. This would be the keep's control room. The table will be your interface. It should allow you to make changes to the keep itself. Anything from the height of the walls to the furnishings inside."
"Go ahead, boss."
Lainey poked Alexander in the back with her bow. Alexander placed a hand on the glowing tabletop. "Keep ownership entity recognized. Please state your designation," a voice echoed through the air. "Alexander?" His answer was more of a question. "Ownership entity Alexander, confirmed. Welcome to Dire Keep. Do you wish to activate the interface?" "Level up. You are now level 38. Your wisdom is increased by +1. Your intelligence has increased by +1. You have 26 free attribute points available." "Level up. You are now level 39. Your wisdom is increased by +1. Your intelligence has increased by +1. You have 26 free attribute points available." "Yes, please," Alexander replied.
Let me stop you there for a second.
Okay.
As you go through all of the books, not just this one, but when you have something like that where there's multiple levels all at once, you don't have to read the stat part each time. You can just say level up, you're at 38, level up, you're 39, and then read the last, whatever the highest level is, read the the whole thing for that.
Okay, cool.
Just to save you some time.
Yeah, and I think the listeners will appreciate that too. I can go back and delete stuff like that.
Well, if you've already done it, don't redo the work. Just going forward, you don't have to go through all that, because there's some stuff where they kill big monsters or finish dungeons and they get multiple levels. You don't need to spend the time to read all that.
Okay. Okay. A three-dimensional diagram appeared above the table, made of the same blue light that glowed upon the table. Next to the diagram was a menu of options. Status, infrastructure, population, defense, resources, ancillary structures. Begin at the beginning, Alexander said. Interface, do you have a name? He asked. The previous master of the keep simply called me Interface. That won't do. We must give you a name. Alexander smiled. He could still remember the day when he'd named Alfred.
Let's call him Fitz.
Sasha giggled.
That'll annoy the old wizard.
Kai smiled, seeming to like the idea.
How about Jeeves?
Lainey volunteered. Or Durin. Max grinned at his dwarf buddy. That way Brick here can claim he's praying every time he speaks to the interface. He dodged as the dwarf swung a half-hearted punch at him. Methinks Jeeves is better, Brick growled. Alexander smiled. I like Jeeves as well. Any objections? Hearing none, he said, Interface, from now on your name is Jeeves. Thank you, Master. Would you like to view the current status of the keep? Yes, thank you, Jeeves. But first, are there any other recognized owners of the keep? There are 3 other recognized ownership entities that have not yet chosen designations. I see. What about the previous owner of the keep? Baron Dyer's claim of ownership was nullified when you and the others captured the keep and claimed it, Master. Thank you, Jeeves. That's good to know. The others will now introduce themselves. One by one, Sasha, Brick, and Max laid a hand on the table and stated their names. Though Max altered his a bit, then guffawed as Jeeves said, Ownership entity Sir Max the Fabulous confirmed. Going to Dyer Keep. I propose we add a 5th in the event we can't agree on something. We'll have a tiebreaker, Alexander suggested. The others all nodded and looked at Lainey. Jeeves, we wish to add an additional ownership entity, he said. Of course, Master. Simply have the entity place their hand on the control panel, as you did, and state their designation. Lainey approached the table and set her hand down. With a wicked grin, she said,
Princess Lainey.
Ownership entity Princess Lainey confirmed. Welcome to Dyer Keep. Copycat! Max grinned at her. Alexander moved on to business. They had their very own keep to play with. Jeeves, please show us the keep's current status. The 3D image changed from the menu to a list of figures. Okay, this is a long chart.
Yeah, you could probably just stop there. That what I was mainly interested in was hearing the Jeeves voice, and
Jeeves.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail and stuff that comes after. So.
Okay, cool. So, Jules is coming up.
Yeah, if you want to do the Jules scene, that is.
It's like right after the table.
It's
unless you want to do her first scene,
where they first meet her.
That's chapter 2, right?
Yeah, it's page. It's 1 second, I'm looking here.
There's like a part when they first find her. Alex calls his dad, and they have a long conversation, and then they come back, and that's when we really get to talk to her.
Yeah, you can do a search for "We Still Have a Room to Clear." That'll get you in the right area. Page 43. If you want to do that's when they first find her. If you want to skip to where not another page down, and so I don't know how much of it you want to read, but
just enough to get her character. Should be fine because we have one more scene that we want to visit, and I haven't read it yet. And you said there are rock trolls, and I'm very excited.
Well, we can. We don't have to do both. We can do. Well, this is the Jules voice, so I guess that's.
Yeah, we need to get Jules' voice at least, and we got 20 minutes. We have at least. I mean, like I don't want to necessarily put a 1 hour limit on us, but that's what we usually do. So we got 20 minutes. Okay, so please don't kill me again.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah, that's fine.
I found it. Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want any context on the scene?
So they've cleared the dungeon and discovered as they are clearing the dungeon, they've discovered that somebody's been cloning they don't know it at the time, but a player, and there were multiple Juleses in the room they just cleared, and they just opened up the room where she's been imprisoned after being captured by the PK Guild.
Okay, so yeah,
Say that again?
let's just start at please don't kill me again.
Okay.
Please don't kill me again.
She snuffled, wiping her nose with her sleeve. Alexander stepped forward. We're not. His voice drifted off as the elf raised her face to look at him. She was beautiful. Not the standard beauty that came with elven features. On Io, all elves were tall, thin, with high cheekbones and narrow chins. This elf was drop-dead supermodel meets Aphrodite beautiful. A smack to the back of the head from Laney brought him back to his senses. We're not here to hurt you, he said. Crouching down so that his eyes were level with her emerald green gaze, he asked, what is your name?
I'm Jules.
She hiccuped as she spoke.
You're really not here to kill me?
Why would we kill you? Kai asked her.
I don't know. Since I got here, every day the guy in the nasty doctor robes comes in here and kills me. When I respawn, he's gone, and the door's locked.
She began to cry again. The surgeon is dead. He was a lich, and we captured his soul, so he won't be bothering you again. Sasha sat next to the girl on the bed and patted her hand. Jules looked hopefully at Sasha.
Can you take me out of here? I really want to go home.
Where'll be home? Brick asked. Jules looked down at her lap.
In the game, is
it Antalya?
Antalya.
In the game, it's Antalya. That's where I was when I was captured.
Her voice grew very quiet.
I can't really go outside the game right now.
Laney gasped.
She's a player!
Having already deduced that from the multiple identical zombies and the fact that Jules had been killed repeatedly, Alexander asked the next logical question. Jules, from the number of zombies out there, you've been trapped here at least a couple weeks. Why didn't you just log out or call a GM to help you? Jules sniffed again, taking her time to answer.
I can't log out. I can, but if I do, I might not be able to get back. And being in the game is so much better than the other.
Why wouldn't you get back? Is there a problem with your gear?
I promised I wouldn't tell.
Jules looked down at her hands.
I signed a DNA thingy when I...
She stopped speaking, shaking her head. DNA? Alexander asked. Do you mean NDA? A non-disclosure agreement? Jules just nodded her head. Getting angry, Alexander stood and headed for the door. Okay, so...
Yeah, so that's real good for her voice. I like that.
Yay, thank you.
So a little bit cracky, not cracky, like smoking crack, but
I mean, if you need me to smoke some crack, whatever,
Okay.
your preference.
Well, the thing is, I just don't want you to have to spend any money on it. So I'll find some. and then you can play Jules. Okay.
Let's ask the fans. Do any of you have free crack?
Free crack? Everyone's like, hell no!
The book will be made that much faster. The Jeff's narration is going to be off the chain.
How many people?
I don't have far to go to get it, but I'm not saying live on YouTube that I'm buying you crack, so sorry.
Okay, so
the rock troll scene. Okay, it's chapter 21, page 207. The location is 6,000. If you're going by that.
Okay.
The key phrase is reaching the lower terminus. My sister likes the Jules voice too.
Yay! Hi, Dave's sister.
She's also one of my alpha readers and tells me when I'm screwing up the writings.
Oh, good.
Reaching the lower terminus?
Yes.
Yep. Terminus. Is there any fibble in this scene?
Is there? Sorry?
Is there any fibble in this scene?
No, there's no fibble. No, there's no fibble in this one that I remember.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm searching the thing and it won't let me go to it. Chapter 21, you said?
Yeah.
It's pretty deep into the chapter.
Keyword's not coming up?
I think I need a new tablet.
You could try just terminus. I think it's the only time that word's in the book.
I do like the word terminus. Just feels so final. Well, you said chapter 21?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mine ends on chapter 19.
The file you have ends on 19?
Yeah, 19 looks like the last chapter.
Oh, shit. That's crazy, man.
It says end book 2.
Huh.
Look, terminus, I'm not seeing anything.
Terminus is not coming up?
Wait, it says chapter 11. Mine says chapter 11.
Okay, well, maybe that's a typo in my notes. I just typed notes chapter 21, but it could be chapter 11.
Okay.
Just another brick in the wall.
Reaching the lower terminus of the tunnel?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. I'm there.
All right. So, Laurie, how do you feel about giving the fans one more narrative go here?
Say that one more time because you cut out.
Do you want to take over the narration for this section?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Reaching the lower terminus of the tunnel, they found themselves on a ledge overlooking a natural cavern. Kai summoned 2 more light globes, which moved off into the cavern, growing brighter until, between them, they lit the whole room. The roughly dome-shaped area was more than 100 yards in diameter, with a big worm-sized hole in the floor to one side. There were no other exits that Alexander could see. The floor was scattered with stalagmites and large, irregularly shaped chunks of rock that looked like they might have fallen from the ceiling. They made down to the cavern floor and toward the hole in the floor. As they passed a group of fallen boulders, Alexander jumped back in surprise.
Oh, shit!
He exclaimed, drawing his sword out of instinct. One of the boulders had a face. Kai put a hand on Alexander's shoulder, saying,
"Sheathe your weapon, Alexander. It will do you no good here. These are rock trolls." "These?"
he asked. Looking around in panic, he saw that what he'd mistaken for boulders were actually several large trolls with skin that was made of stone.
"Well, shit,"
was Brick's only opinion as he raised his shield and prepared his hammer. Kai let out a low, grumbling noise that was something between a growl and a dull jackhammer sound. Do we want to hear that noise? Nice.
There you go.
I like it. The troll closest to them began to shift its limbs and stood upright. The monstrous thing was easily 15 feet tall. It had massive shoulders, easily 6 feet wide, and arms reached all the way to the floor. It resembled a large stone ape, except its head was rounded and smooth, with small ears and small eyes, and its skin looked exactly like the rock wall behind it. When it opened its mouth, Alexander could see that it had rows of stone for teeth. It mumbled out a reply to Kai that sounded like a small avalanche. Gorg, Rock Troll Chieftain, level 70, health 2400 over 2400.
24,000.
24,000, yes, you're right. Mathematics! Health 24,000 out of 24,000. As Alexander examined the chieftain, other trolls began to rise as the exchange continued. There were 8 of them besides the one that was speaking. Alexander focused on resisting the urge to scream like a little girl and run away. Kai was right. Fighting these monsters with normal weapons would get them squished into the floor like overripe tomatoes. Each of them had at least twice the HP of a normal mob at level 70. After several more exchanges, the massive troll bowed its head to Kai and sat down. The others all sat as well. The resulting tremor had Alexander look to the ceiling for a falling rock.
They're hungry, but I convinced them that you're not food.
Kai smiled at them.
You speak troll?
Brick asked, mouth open.
I didn't even know trolls had a language.
With a laugh, Kai said,
I am a dragon, and several millennia old. I speak the language of every living thing on Io. You said they're hungry?
Alexander was still focused on living through this meeting.
Yes. The kobolds, or small ones, as the chief here calls them, were feeding the trolls every week. In return, the trolls agreed to not kill them. But he says the kobolds have not been here to feed them today. They were just about to go find them. Oh, crap. We killed their lunch ladies?
Alexander didn't like where this was going.
Yes, but you've just agreed to take over their feeding, in exchange for their help.
The dragon said.
I have?
Alexander was pretty sure he hadn't.
What do giant rock trolls eat? They can eat most things, even stone, for a short while, to fill an empty belly. They prefer meat, and they consider marble a delicacy. But there is no marble in this area. They have very slow digestive systems and only need to eat once a week or so. A wolf or deer carcass each would suffice. And in return, they promise not to kill the miners.
Brick asked.
Yes, that. But also, they will help by pushing the mining carts. They move slowly, but have tremendous strength.
Kai answered. Alexander knew an opportunity when he saw one.
Please tell him he has a deal. And, if he's willing to help us, I will give them marble for dessert each week.
He said.
You actually already agreed to the deal. Or rather, I agreed on your behalf. But I will inform him of your offer of marble.
Kai said. There was another gravelly exchange. Kai asked,
How much marble? And will they need to live in the keep? They can live wherever they like.
Alexander laughed. He was reminded of the joke. Where does a 600... Oh, is that me? Where does a 600-pound gorilla sit in a bar? Anywhere he wants.
As for the marble...
Alexander reached into the floor and raised a slab of stone about the size he'd seen at the quarry in Whitehall. 3 feet wide, 6 feet high, and 3 inches thick. He guessed it would weigh about 200 pounds.
Tell them a slab this size for them to share. Every week, if...
He trailed off as all the trolls immediately jumped to their feet and approached him. They formed a circle around his little trio. The leader began to speak, pointing at Alexander.
Rock. Did they just decide that I'm breakfast after all?
He asked Kai.
They are surprised by your earth magic.
Kai said.
One moment, please.
Another exchange, much more animated this time. The other trolls were leaning in toward him. One reached out and poked the slab of stone gently, as if afraid it might bite him. The others all made grinding noises that Alexander thought might be laughter.
Great. I've just become a circus monkey for a tribe of rock trolls. Kai, if they like marble, how do they feel about obsidian?
He asked as quietly as he could.
How do they feel about obsidian? Also a delicacy.
Kai paused in his discussion with the chief long enough to answer. Alexander opened up guild chat.
Master Silverbeard, I am currently surrounded by 9 very large, hungry rock trolls. We are going to be feeding them from now on. Please have someone put 1 deer and 8 wolf carcasses from the cold room into a wagon and move it to the teleport pad as quickly as you can. I'll be coming to retrieve it shortly. Okay, so Silverbeard, we haven't. I don't know if we encountered. Was he in book 1?
Yeah, he's the chancellor. He's the old dwarf that joined him. Lola, the treasurer, is his granddaughter. He joined them roughly the same time as Kai did.
Okay. Is he super old?
Yeah, he was old enough to be dying until they got the gods to bless the terminal, and he got like a rejuvenating blessing.
Cool.
Very old dwarf.
Of course, Alexander. Do you need assistance?
Silverbeard asked.
No, Kai is speaking to them, and I'm doing magic tricks. We're fine. Once the meat is in place, ask everyone to clear the courtyard. Trolls take up a lot of space.
Kai was still talking, so Alexander took the opportunity to remove a 4-inch square chunk of obsidian from his bag. Reaching out, he offered it to the chief. The troll instantly stopped talking. He stuck out a hand and delicately removed the stone morsel from Alexander's palm. He sniffed it once, then tossed it into his mouth. The other trolls all began to grumble and shift their feet. So, I want to hear some grumbling. So Alexander produced 8 more squares, handing one to each troll. They seemed pleased, he hoped. They all sat back down, still in a circle. The chief said something to Kai, still rattling the obsidian cube around in his mouth. I was hoping we were going to hear that.
Gonna have to put a jawbreaker in your mouth and rattle it around or something.
He appeared to be sucking on it like candy. Kai laughed.
He says to thank you for the gift. He has not had the black stone since he was a small boulder.
Alexander bowed his head to the chief.
Few trolls have magic.
Kai began to explain.
Only the most ancient of rock trolls develop earth magic strong enough to do what you just did. They are treated with great respect among the troll tribes. The chief is trying to decide if you are a venerated elder of your race. Wah!
Brick was holding his stomach.
You gave them candy, and now you're their grandpa!
He fell over and rolled on the ground. The trolls seemed greatly amused by this. The one that had touched the stone slab actually rolled over backward in a crude imitation of the dwarf, which only made him laugh harder. Alexander sincerely hoped somebody at Olympus was recording this. After another short exchange, the chief rose to his feet and began to head up the tunnel. The others rose and followed.
You could probably stop there. That's
okay, cool.
I had to do a female version of that laugh in the last book. I think I did so many takes. I was like, I can't get it. It's like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah. What you should have done is called me up and be like, how the fuck are we supposed to do this? But that's like, I think that's a dwarven trope is the bois, right?
Yeah. And Lord Catherine, you've got Thea, who stays as a side character, but a main side character through the books too. So you'll get to do that some more.
Yes, I like doing the troll voices.
All right, well, so that's our little sample of Greystone 2. There's a lot more where that came from, guys. It's a very long book. How many? What is it, like 160K?
Yeah, 160K. This is the longest of the Greystone books.
It's a big one. It's a big one, y'all. So it'll be definitely worth the money once you pick it up. It should be out. Like we're bottlenecked with production right now. Even though I'm probably going to be done with the narration by next Saturday. still, it's going to take some time before it actually hits the proofing stage and the polishing stage, but it's coming. So it'll be here at, I mean, before November is over at the very latest. That's like, I promise that, at least. So yeah, that's our show for today. Thank you, Laurie, for coming, even though I know you've had a pretty shit day.
Yeah, thank you, Laurie.
Dave,
Thank you guys.
thank you for
Good stretch.
coming and hanging out with us and explaining to us what we should be reading, and for writing this wonderful series. I know everyone.
Thank you.
I know.
Thanks for having me.
So excited to hear more on audio. Yeah, if you guys like this video, please subscribe. If you are interested in any of the books that we've been talking about today, all the links to them are in the description below. You will also find the links to our Facebook group, the Gamelit Society Facebook group, the Lit RPG Forum Facebook group, and the SBTL Discord. I don't know if you guys know this, but I often will, me, Justin, Annie will often narrate live on Discord and just hang out with you guys while we work.
And every time you join them on Discord, you get XP.
That's right.
And you can trade the XP in for cookies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you have to get a lot to actually get cookies.
Yeah, you got to be like level 100.
Yeah, you have to have.
But they're good cookies.
They're good cookies. Girl Scout cookies, for sure.
Thin mints.
Thin mints, yeah. So yeah, please join the Discord if you haven't already. And tomorrow is the Sound Booth Theater Live, requests only, at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. We already have a poll going. What's it? Let me look at the poll right now to see what's in the lead.
Ooh.
What was that? Was that?
Jeff's already committing you for books 3 and 4 on the Greystone.
Me?
Okay, let's see.
Other Jeff. Yes,
Okay.
Jeff.
So, number one, this is interesting. The number one nominee is whatever has been on the list the longest. Give the underdog a chance.
Nice.
For what? For SBTL?
For SBTL requests only, yeah.
Ooh.
Now who has to go back and figure that out?
Yeah. In second place is Milton by Big Martyrs. And in third place we have Freehaven Online 2, Lady Thunderlord Into Hades, a lit RPG adventure by June Prince. So this ought to be a good one because, well, I don't know. Maybe who knows? Maybe the oldest one on here is shit, and that's why it's the oldest one. So this is going to be a crapshoot, guys. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be like, what are we doing here? So come anyway, check it out, see what it is, and yeah, that's all we have for today. So everybody enjoy your Browns game, right? Browns?
Don't know.
They can't be called the Browns, right? That sounds like poop.
What's the football game you're watching, Dave?
Oh, Michigan Wolverines. That game's over. Now it's Ohio State Buckeyes and Indiana.
Oh, okay. This is college.
Yeah, it's Saturday, college day.
Okay.
Pros are tomorrow.
Okay. So everybody,
Browns?
what?
Is there a team called the Browns?
I thought there
You should
was.
rethink their name if so. Can't not think of poop.
Yeah, brown stains. Okay, so enjoy your football, or if you're like me, enjoy the fucking fights tonight. Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. So
Don't forget ointment.
Yes, and wear your ointment under your
ointment.
bra.
We almost got through the whole broadcast without ointment happening. Come on.
Wasn't gonna let that happen.
You did say doink. How about doinkment?
Doinkment.
Doinkment.
All right, thanks for hanging out, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one. Later.